everyone, how you doing today? My name is Mike with Damascus Enterprises. We're here at a house in Damascus. We're going to be installing a tree. Just kind of giving you a layout of the land here, let you know what's going on. We did remove a tree yesterday. We're actually going to plant a little bit offset from the original tree in case there's any roots and things that could be a problem with digging and things like that. So we're going to be putting the tree in about here, and we'll show you some more video here in just a moment. One of the things you need to think about when you're putting a balled and burlap tree in the ground is getting all the material from away from the top of the root ball and away from the trunk. You have your burlap, which we have removed, strings and things like that. But one last thing that a lot of people forget about is exposing the trunk flare on a tree. So what happens is when the spade is digging a tree, or when it's sometimes even when it's planted as a bare root, when it's young, it's planted a little bit deep. So you need to make sure that you expose this area here. You can see where the trunk starts to flare back out, so that you're not causing issues like when you have your soil mulch and things like that. Too much moisture against a trunk can actually cause a trunk rot. Holding too much moisture against an area that doesn't get a chance to dry out. So it is very important to expose the trunk flare so that it is out in the open and is able to dry out and continue to stay dry, so that the tree will stay healthy. You won't have any issues with cankers, things like that, from fungal rots and things. So now we've taken care of the trunk flare on the tree, and we have our soil pile here. The biggest thing with the soil is you need to make sure that what you take out has some organic consistency to it, has some organic matter that's been added to it. There's lots of different things you can use, from leaf grow, bumper crop, other types of compost, but the best thing is get it mixed in well. You don't want any large areas of leaf grow or any other compost that will be kind of like a hot spot. It could technically burn the roots because the material is still breaking down, and as it breaks down it does produce some heat, so you can cause some issues with the root system. So you need to make sure that you get a good mix in of your material so that you have a good consistency of soil and your organic matter, so that when you backfill you have a nice even mix of material. What this will do is it'll help add some nutrients to the soil, but the organic matter also will hold a little bit of moisture and allow for the root system, the plant, to draw from that as it holds a little bit here, especially in dry times. I mean, a lot of times around here our soil is clay and rocky, which water runs off the top. We want to give it a chance. So this is what we do. We mix in some organic material. So when we dug our hole for this tree, we made sure that we were at least 6 to 10 inches around the root ball wider, so that we could get good organic material like we had showed you mixed in, and then also be able to get that soil back in there. The idea, though, as you can see, we still have a lot of soil left. The idea is not to use all the soil to fill this back up. You're going to have extra, and if somebody uses all the soil to fill it up, you could have some problems, because it usually ends up on top of the root ball. So what we're going to do is plant this tree properly and not cover over the root ball. So we have right here, you have the soil that is exposed still from the root ball itself. We'll fill in a little bit more up to the edges of the hip of the root ball here and around here, but we're not going to cover over the existing root ball with soil. What that'll do is you can actually cause suffocation of the root system, and again the trunk rot that we talked about earlier with the trunk flare not being exposed. As you can see there, the trunk flare is exposed. It's got a nice taper to it, so it's out in the open. We won't have the issues with the rotting, and we do have a lot of soil left over, but that is okay. When you mix in organic material and you put a root ball into a hole, you are going to have some soil left over. Alright, so here we're fully finished as far as planting is concerned, getting this tree in the ground. and getting the soil packed down around it. One of the key things is when you are putting soil around it, make sure you do pack it down. If you leave a lot of air pockets in the soil around the tree, down underneath where the root system is, there could be issues with freezing. Open air spaces, temperature drops much faster than it is if it's a soil and it's compacted nice. I'm not talking about going through with a tamper and getting it tamped down so hard that you could drive a truck on it and it wouldn't buckle, but you need to make sure that it's firm so that the tree has some support as it roots into that area as well. So here we are, we're removing the volcano that everybody is so familiar with. We did the edging around the bed or around the perimeter of the tree. We're going to get everything back down to where the top of the root ball is fully exposed. There's no soil on top of it, no material, no grass, and get that all looking nice and smooth. We recommend that things are flat like that and you don't have a cone around the perimeter of the tree. It does not actually do anything other than look kind of funky. So we just want to protect the tree as much as possible, keep things away from the trunk, keep things away from the top of the root ball, and we'll clean everything up and get it ready for mulching. All right, we're all finished here. We put sod in where the old tree was. We've got the tree staked and mulched. Usually when you're staking a tree, you want to find which way the wind blows to be able to use the stake in the best manner. But with the house being the orientation that it is, it blocks most of the winds that come through here. So for aesthetic purposes, we went parallel with the front of the house. You can see we got our mulch here. The customer does prefer a nugget mulch, so we went with the nugget mulch, but our trunk flare is still exposed. We did not put a large quantity of mulch on top of it. We wanted to make sure that everything was still there and still exposed as much as possible to create the overall look that you have now. So this is how we plant a tree. And have a nice day.